Right, I've just gone live. Adrian from Catford Masters. How are you, mate?
Hi, Dan. Very good, thank you. How's it going?
Oh, brilliant, thank you.
Great.
Have you enjoyed the World Championship so far?
Magic. Absolute magic. It's been brilliant watch and just some fantastic matches and great snooker. Some amazing shots and some good fun too.
Yeah, definitely. What's been your favourite match so far?
The Higgins and Williams. I really liked the drama of the 12-all and the two old masters, right to the death. Brilliant.
Fergal, how are you?
Yeah, I'm just getting the TV organised here. Is watching along.
Brilliant.
I'm only in the other room. To do it.
How are you doing?
All good. And good. How long are we on for to the death? Though, what's the story?
Well, to the death probably won't be very long, will it? Looking at the match so far. However long you two want to chat for, it's fine with me. What have you thought of the tournament so far, Fergal?
Yeah, very good. Was quite open at the start. Maybe a little bit disappointing ending because it looked like the quarters and semis was building up really nicely, but they've kind of been the Higgins or the Williams and Trump was 17-14, but that was more a little bit of a comeback where I think we thought they were going to be a lot closer. So it's been a good turn, but the ending has been slightly disappointing, I thought.
Let me try and... Can you edit my settings? Fergal, your sound's really low. Can you hear him?
I can hear him reasonably well, yeah.
Okay, this is my end then. What's been the match for you so far, Fergal? Match that stood out?
Well, I would say it has to be the Higgins-Williams match. The pair of them playing, the history they have themselves, the history between the pair of them playing, and then also the fact that even it went to the way the match went, 12-all, and John 12-8 behind, and then missing the blue, and
missing the blue after getting a fantastic brown.
Yeah, I think he should have rolled the blue in, though. I think the blue. It's hard to criticize John, but I think he should have committed totally to it and played it dead weight.
I agree because he tried to leave it in the white safe, didn't he, and make the blue move away from the pocket if he missed.
Yeah, but he was always going to be close enough with the blue that it wasn't going to necessarily rattle away. He was always going to stay close enough, close enough. So, if he rolls it in, it's probably 8 out of 10. The way he played is probably 6. But it's awful annoying as well when you play that conservative shot and you don't then get away with it like you thought you might,
Right. Fantastic. Have you played Mark Williams and John Higgins yourself, Fergal?
Yeah, I played them loads. Actually, the year I played Mark Williams in the Worlds in 2000. The year he won it, I played him in the quarters. And the story I tell was after the first session, he was 5-3 up. And when I got called on the dressing room door to go out and play, as I was walking by his dressing room, his door was open. And him and his pal were literally leaning out the window, shouting abuse at people going by. And within 2 or 3 minutes, we're getting introduced. So I was thinking, this is happy days. He's obviously not focused or concentrating. But he came out and he went ton to go 7-3 up and basically broke the back of the match. So he is that laid back and relaxed, And so
he is my favorite personality on the tour. I love it. Yesterday, he was on about Optical Express getting his money back from his eyes. He's a great character.
Yeah, I think it's probably the last 5-10 years he's been really appreciated more. So obviously he's probably in the shadow of particularly Ronnie, but then also even John, where he's a little bit, but there's maybe a little bit of quirkiness, that, or a little bit eccentric nearly, or certainly an individual. I think people have really embraced that, whereas maybe before there might have been question marks of something he did or said, whereas now everybody just tries to embrace it and goes it's classic Mark, and he is a little bit different, but that's the genius that's in him.
Yeah, fantastic. And John, did you play John?
Yeah, played John loads. I'm trying to think. Yeah, probably my best memory playing John is I played him in the semi-finals of the British Open in '99. I made a really good break to win 6-5. I ended up winning the final, but he gave me some hidings as well.
What year was that, Fergal?
99.
In 99.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I think
so.
98 was the earliest I played him. Man.
Where was that held? British Championship.
The British Open, that was in Plymouth.
Okay. Yeah.
6-5. But when in the early 90s, I was at the management company Q Masters. So I used to go over and practice with Stephen Hendry a little bit in the club in Stirling. But John coming through at maybe 15, 16, you could see how good he was going to be then. You know, I mean, like he was always brilliant.
They had a wonderful. They just reran it today here on the BBC. 40 years at the Crucible, and they were showing Stephen when he was 17. And his long hair, and it just brings back brilliant memories. He was the spotty teenager who, at those days, we didn't realise how amazing. He's actually a brilliant bloke, isn't he? He's a great guy.
Yeah, exactly. A similar sense to Steve Davis as well. That it might have been the most popular players, probably because they were winning it and also beating. You know, if you're beating Alex Higgins and Jimmy White regularly, you know that's not a way to win friends and influence people. But obviously, as their careers have ended, we've seen that the personality that they always had, but probably couldn't really let that out because they were so focused on what they were doing and trying to do. Davis, in particular, when he was playing, was very I know the stories of Davis that if there was people in the hotel restaurant, other players, like he just get sandwiches up to his room. He wouldn't even socialize. He was just totally single-minded, doing his own thing. Stephen, I always found, was quite more sociable. You could go for a meal with Stephen tonight, but you could be playing him tomorrow and he'd absolutely want to bury you. Whereas Steve Davis wouldn't go for the meal with you at all because he didn't probably want to be giving away any edge.
What about Alex Higgins? Did you play him? Did you play Alex?
I only ever played him once, and that was 2007 in the Irish Professional Championships. So, look, I won 5-0, but I don't even count that as a win as such because obviously he was well past, well past his peak. But again, even in that, in the first frame, he fouled, or it was deemed to have fouled the pink bridging over, and he tried. Referee called. He tried to get me involved, and the interval he was trying to get me involved. And I heard outside he was calling me all sorts of names and everything. And even as I walked by, going to the toilet, you could see even from that how he got involved in rows and arguments. But as I said, it was nice to play him, but I mean, I wasn't playing the Alex.
But you'd met him a couple of times outside of playing him during your career.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I have a good memory of the first time I played in the Crucible in '94. The day before I played, I had a few practice frames with him. So obviously as a kid, like I idolized Alex when he won in '82. I was 10. I remember going up to my room and doing out a big poster, Alex Higgins, world champion, and all that. So even that at the Crucible, then to have a couple of frames with him was good. But even then, he was actually using a maple cue, but like with a marker or a Sharpie, he'd actually, like with an ash cue, he'd have those like arrows or chevrons. He'd actually drawn his own ones on it. So he's using a maple cube, drawing his own arrows, trying to make it look like an ash, but he was a beaut.
Fantastic. Just an amazing character. And Jimmy?
Yeah, good memories of Jimmy as well. Again, I met him first in 1984. He did an exhibition over here in Dublin with John Parrott. I still have that picture when I met him. And then, obviously when I got on the tour, but always very, very friendly. The kind of expression, never meet your heroes. Well, that's not the case with Jimmy. He's always very, very friendly, very warm. Even if you were at a tour with maybe my parents or grandparents or family were there, he was always talking to them. So they all kind of loved him as well. So very, very humble. Just a really nice guy. Great with people.
Lovely guy. Do you know, I met him. So I live in Southeast London, and after he lost to Steve Davis in what year would that have been? If you remember 84. In the final,
84, 18, 16.
Right. So after he lost, my friend we used to collect glasses for a little private members club and get 50 pence, for collecting the glasses. And he had his after party in there. So my buddy sort of said, come down. He called, the old house phone and said, come down. And we met Jimmy. I mean, he was, let's say he was enjoying himself quite a bit.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, so just down the bottom of the road there. So I just walked 2 minutes and met my hero, and I'm glad he's yours too.
Yeah. Obviously, so they've grown up.
And people's hero. He really was an exceptional snooker player.
Yeah, he was. An awful pity, of course, that he never won the world title. And I think, to be fair, with Alex, if he was your hero, I said plenty of people could probably tell stories and negative stories about meeting him, and he probably didn't behave himself as best. Whereas, to be fair, I haven't actually heard of anybody meeting Jimmy White and having like a negative story or so both great players, but I think Jimmy the better personality, less volatile.
So you're only a few years older than Mark Williams.
Yeah, exactly. Not much. I'm 53 now. He's just gone 50. So yeah.
Fantastic. So are you still playing yourself on the seniors tour?
No, I haven't played any of the seniors tour. I might have played, like last year, I played an event here in Ireland to try and qualify to play in the Crucible. And if in theory I was given a spot to play in the World Seniors, I would. But the way Jason France had set up was that there's a series of events, which is great because you've got like a proper seniors season. But I'm not prepared to go over 5-6 times a year to play over the weekends to try and qualify. So, like, it's great, but it's just not for me. Playing wise, kind of the switch has gone off, and then also being busy with the coaching. But is that
what you're doing? I was wondering if you're involved with the Irish snooker, promoting the game, or what you were doing.
Yeah, I kind of obviously I'm not effectively a part of the SBI, the Snooker and Billiards Ireland Association. Obviously, I know the committee there well, and talking to them, and I'm sure somewhere down the road that will be more cemented. But I've kind of been doing my own things with the coach, and apart from coaching, we say players individually. I've also done free coaching for schools. I've set up a junior academy, so once a month in the club with players from the club.
Where's that? Where's that in Dublin?
Just outside Dublin, Selbridge in Kildare. So I said,
south, yeah,
just outside Dublin, so about 15 minutes away from where I live. So I've set up a junior academy there with another coach, Peter Troy. We're there once a month, with some juniors from the club and locally. And then I also organised a junior event. Managed to get 32 players from all around the country to play. So, and next year I intend to increase that, a couple of more tournaments, and just get more juniors playing. And the more people we have playing, more likely then you get stars coming through.
It's quite a thing organising. I organised a 32-player tournament just before Christmas at my local club, and it was the first. I've no experience of that. It was difficult.
Yeah, it sounds easy because it's 32, but I mean, actually, you break it down because just on the time effort, you've 32 or more phone calls or texts to make. Are you interested in playing? Some will come back straight away. Some you have to wait and chase down. Some go back, I don't know, check with dates. And then even when you've got it confirmed, you have to make the draw, get in touch with them, run it off. And then on the day, to actually run it so it goes smoothly between tables and referees and prize money and all that stuff.
And have a few spares in your back pocket, Fergal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fantastic. So that's going well. It sounds like it's great. When I'm in Dublin, I play in the little club. I go over to my family are from the other side, Mayo, but I go to Dublin for the rugby and stuff. I play in a little club, O'Connell Street. There's a snooker club just on
Ned Kelly's.
Yeah, you played in there a couple of times, I'm sure.
I only ever played there once, but like as a kid, that that's been there since I was a kid as such, that club. Never really had many players come out. People played, but no kind of the regular players or juniors or amateurs that were playing the scene. But I said it's still there.
So have you got your eye on anyone coming through the Irish game at the moment?
Well, obviously the last year or so, I've been working with Aaron Hill, who obviously is on the tour. He's up to 49 in the ranking, so I think he's got a great future, and hopefully I can help him out. And then
has he got a particular style? Is he flair snooker player or a break builder or?
Yeah, he's kind of got. You probably describe him as kind of the modern player. He's a powerful game, good long potter, looks to score heavy, looks to win in one visit, but obviously as a good, we'd say, B game as well. So I think, as I said, he's still only 23. So even when we've seen the likes of Xintong, 27 now, looks like, well, he's going to win the world title. So he's still effectively learning his trade, but he's making great progress, and he's just. He's got every chance. He's got a good, strong game.
Aaron Hill, did you say?
Aaron Hill, yeah. He's from Cork, and he's been on the tour now.
I actually spoke to his dad, I think, a few months ago, or was in touch with his dad. I said, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. But so that's good. So that's okay, great.
And then there's actually I'm coaching the last couple of years. There's a 14-year-old from Longford, Joe Shannon. He last season he won the Irish under 14 and under 16 championships, and he actually played in this. As a result, he was given a wild card to play in the shootout, that was on before Christmas there, and so he ended up lost by literally a second or two. Played Rob Milkins, but he acquitted himself very well. So again, at 14, it's hard to say, but as I said, at 14, he's certainly better at 14 than I was. So he's got a good chance.
So did you grow up just like us, playing at your local club, and how did that roll with you?
Yeah, exactly. When I was a kid at Christmas, I was about 7 or so. I got one of those small little tables that you'd literally fit on the kitchen top. And then the following year, my grandparents got me an 8x4 table. So it was only 8 at the time. So that seemed huge. And I was literally playing day and night on that.
And you're raising the butt of the cue up against the wall so as not to mark the pain.
Yeah, or there was always a small queue. No, I was fortunate enough that there was enough room around. So or you don't screw your queue.
Unscrew, that's right. Yeah.
But so I played in that, and I probably about from the age of 12, I started going to the club with my dad, and I'd say probably by the time I was 14 or 15, I wanted to be a professional snooker player. I had to stay in school till I was 18, get some level of education. But yeah, no, it's the same local clubs. You go around, I'd walk around, or if you travel, be on my bike, and I'd have the 2-piece queue on the handlebars, going to the place. But
good on my bike. I can strap it to my bike and cycle to my snooker club as well. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that's true. And again, back then, that's one of the pities we'd say about snooker nowadays, certainly in Dublin, is that I could literally walk to two or three clubs. I could have walked to literally every village had a club. And then I said, on my way into town, there was probably another 4 or 5 clubs I could probably cycle to or get the bus to. And then when you went in town from O'Connell, if you know Dublin, from O'Connell Street to Capel Street, which is like 500 meters or such, there used to be 5 snooker clubs in and around there alone. Whereas the Barnett Kelly's now, so that's the thing. That's a bit of an issue, that if a young person's watching this World Championships, it gets attracted to the game, particularly if the likes of Xintong's winning, and he says, "Right, Dad, I want to go and play. Let's go." It's possible his nearest club might be 15, 20 miles, which is not quite as convenient as when we're able to walk or cycle to it. So that's a bit of an issue. Obviously, we could do it more clubs and more tables to get people are interested in playing. There's facilities are there.
There's more pool clubs where I live, than there is snooker clubs.
Where are you down? Maidstone, is it?
Near Maidstone, mate. Yeah. So they've got a few snooker clubs, but they've predominantly got rid of a lot of the snooker tables and now got pool tables in.
So
that, and even in Ireland here as well, if the junior tournaments under 16, 18 have maybe 20 players, the pool tournaments seem to be having like 80, 100 players. So the pool is obviously easier to play, and probably for premises, it's easier to have four or 6 pool tables in a small area rather than maybe have one table. So it's just the facilities aren't there. So
Well, I see Gareth Potts say there's a tournament in China they're going out to, and the prize money for the winner is 750,000. I mean, there's no snooker tournament that's near that, is there? I think the world's is $500,000.
Yeah, the world's $500,000 in Saudi as well. And I know a good few of the snooker players, when they're out in China, are starting to stay out there, going out deliberately for that hay ball and to start playing. And again, I wouldn't be the biggest fan of pool myself, but I suppose like everything else, if the money gets big enough, at some point you decide to play or want to play. And certainly some of the pro snooker players that are doing that. So, but again, hopefully that just encourages or inspires snooker to raise their prize money as well.
Well, I can tell you, I heard Hazel Irvin drop a couple of numbers about the Chinese today. One of them was that in the country, 330,000 snooker clubs registered.
Yeah,
so
I heard that as well. It's one of those, when she said it, you nearly don't believe it. Like, she's not lying, but if you just try and comprehend that, it's ridiculous. So again, if there's one or two juniors in each club, how many players are they going to get?
It's exactly, and also the other number was the potential viewing figures from the Chinese audience that are watching. So if you imagine, Fergal, when you were playing and you knew the Irish public had backed Alex Higgins, and snooker's very, it's a lot of people of all ages watch the game and enjoy it. And basically you become a household name, especially in Ireland, a smaller country, smaller population. So you'd be reasonably well known, I would guess.
Yes.
And obviously of a population of 3 or 4 million. But when your viewing figures, Hazel mentioned 750 million people potentially watching or seeing on, social media, etc., the mind boggles. It just, if that's pressure, he's not showing it, is he?
Yeah, no, he's been exemplary throughout the whole tournament. But I mean, as you said, those numbers are amazing. And I said, if there's 300,000 or so clubs, or if there's all of a sudden, if there's three, and three is not a lot, if there's 3 junior players in each club, all of a sudden there's literally a million junior players just from China alone. So how good would you have to be to come through the Chinese system to win the Chinese under 16, under 21 championship? And then also with regard to the other players from around the world, whether it be England or Ireland. And I see somebody's asked a question in regard to Stan Moody as well. And again, I've seen Stan in the tour last. Yeah, he's a tremendous prospect. Probably a lot of pressure on him, because coming from England, and probably everybody wants to see an English player coming through and following on. That still have to be mindful. He's still very young, still learning his trade, and to give him encouragement. But sometimes you see maybe like the social media, I think some of the criticism is very harsh and also unnecessary, considering he's not. I'm going to say young man. He was nearly a boy, still learning his trade. But again, for Stan Moody, if I was in his corner saying, look, you've heard the figures of those people in China playing. How much work are they putting in? So it's not just over the next couple of years to get really established out in the 16, but to stay on the 16 for the next 20 odd years. How much work are you going to have to do? How good are you going to have to play? Standards is going to rise and rise, which is exactly what we want.
Fantastic. And so, I mean, Williams just got that frame, which is great. He's kept it alive. So only 8 to go. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, I suppose probably the most probably could hope for is maybe if you could win 4 and at least get an interval to it. But because
that would be good.
Yeah, because again, I'm sure people that have waited all year bought their tickets, and those tickets are getting quite expensive.
That's right, and I was feeling for them that they wouldn't have got a refund if the session wasn't played or completed before. But my buddy has just asked a question to you, Fergal, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this on your screen, but he said, when did you score your first century?
The 27th of the 7th, 1987. I was 15 and I had 101 breaks. Yeah, I remember the date. A fluke. I missed the yellow by a mile on 92. Fluke.
You were on your summer holidays, Fergal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Missed
So
the yellow
you
by
were
a
spending
mile.
it down. Yeah. And which snooker club?
It was actually Langan's Snooker Club in Capel Street, actually in the city centre.
Is that gone now?
Yeah, again, that another one in the city centre there.
Yeah,
that went in actually 1990, and certainly the last 15, 20 years, most of the clubs have went. But no, it's still a great buzz. Even because again, it's funny at 15, and I was reading Snooker Scene magazine, but you're reading about the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan and others making centuries at 10. And I was nearly starting to panic that I was 15 and hadn't made a century break. So I remember that was a kind of a big relief, all right. But no, it's great.
With Black, do you remember with Blacks?
Oh God, I don't know. I remember. I said I can just clearly remember on 92 missing the yellow by a mile, but I fluked it, landed behind the green, and butchered the brown, but just potted brown for the 101, and then no, I can clearly remember such a,
So, is it recorded how many centuries you made in your career?
I think it's 240.
Ooh, that's a lot. Well played.
Yeah, thank you. It's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And you played Paul Hunter in the Masters final, Fergal?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a great
what
match.
an amazing thing to look back on.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, at the time to lose, particularly because I had the good lead, I was 7-3 up, and then also had good chances in the last frame and didn't win. So obviously at the time, I was gutted to lose. But as I always say, the way things panned out, unfortunately for Paul, it was the right result. That he ended up won a few times, and that's what they played for the Paul.
Was that his last title?
No, that was his first one to win.
That was his first title. Okay.
Yeah, and funny because he won 3 of them, but he beat me from 7-3 down. The next year he beat Mark Williams from 5-0 down, and a couple of years later he beat Ronnie from 7-2 down. They were all 10-9. But yeah, and as I said, how could I possibly begrudge him that win? As disappointed I was, I said at 27 to pass away with his whole career, and also his daughter. His daughter was only 1 year old, and of a daughter similar age, so you can't put a price on seeing your daughter grow up. So
you had a great memory. And was that at Ali Pali?
No, that was back in the old.
Was it Wembley
Conference Centre? Wembley Conference Centre.
Yeah. Okay. So that was.
I was at that final. It was absolutely mental because Hunter had so many people screaming for him because obviously I don't know what the reason was. He was like a young David Beckham, they called him, wasn't it? And I said to Fergal last time I was with this woman, and there was like literally me and a few others screaming for Fergal. It was an amazing night. Amazing.
Yeah. Excuse me. It's funny you said it because I actually can consciously remember at night he was making all those centuries, and as he was clearing, putting the pink and the black, I can actually remember saying to myself in the chair, "Wait for the roar." And as soon as the black hit the back of the leather of the pocket, it was a merciful roar. So I said he was very popular, and the fact they probably wanted to see more frames anyway, all tied in. But I mean, the atmosphere was electric.
Fantastic. And that was a big place, Wembley Conference Centre.
Yeah, I think it could hold about 2,500.
Yeah. Okay. So that would have been your biggest, the most spectators in a arena for you, Fergal?
Yeah, it was. I said that was big. I'm not sure exactly. I think Ali Pali's not far off, but yeah, that was the biggest at the time, 2,500. Yeah, I mean, I said it,
what an achievement to play in a final. Were you nervous? Did you perform well? It sounded like you started really well.
Yeah, funny enough, when a couple of years before playing the final, the British Open, I was more nervous on that. Maybe by being to a final, I was a bit more calm. The first session was quite poor snooker. I managed to be 6-2 up, but I didn't play well, and Paul was quite poor. And I said I should have went 8-3 ahead. I went 7-4, and then Paul just went. I think he had 4 centuries in an 80. I won a good frame to go back to 9-all, but as I said, I had chances in the last frame which I should have won, but wasn't to be.
Fantastic, and there is it's a great memory, and great achievement. Well done. I mean, to get to a Masters final, that is, the best of the best.
Yeah, no, thank you again. Certainly at the time when you lose, you're so disappointed. You probably don't really see any positives because
Who did you play on the way?
I beat Mark Williams 6-5. I
Wow.
beat Ken 6-2. I played very well against Ken.
Are you good buddies with Ken?
Yeah, obviously, over the years, practiced him a lot, and actually, certainly around that time, we seemed to play each other a hell of a lot. So, you know, it was kind of even enough. So I played well actually to beat him that time, and then I beat Dave Harold in the semi-final 6-4 as well. So, you know, it was obviously a great tournament.
Brilliant stuff.
Dave Harold was gritty as well, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. It probably wasn't the most attractive match, myself and Dave Harold playing, but I was just saying there, what's your highest break?
What you got, Dan?
My highest break is 47.
Oh, cool.
And you?
I got a 63.
Very good, yeah.
In the last 6 months or so, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Making progress.
I play a lot over the winter, but less in the summer. So, yeah. But when I was playing regular, 50s, get a few of those.
In and around 50, you can play all right. You know, that's a decent break.
Yeah, and at the time, and I missed an easy one too, Fergals. It could have been nearer 80, I would say. Yeah. I recently played at the Maltese Snooker Academy, and I asked to play someone just to have a few frames live on the YouTube channel. Yeah. And they sent me this lad. He actually played Xintong in a tournament and lost to Xintong in the last year or so. And he said Xintong is just the best.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
So it's a great but so Williams has got his nose in front in this one as well.
Yeah. It's a pity really it's still very unlikely. But I mean if it had been even 16-9 to keep him 2 frames away, he might have been able to put him under some level of pressure. But you just can't see him losing 10 frames in a row, not getting chances or really good chances.
He's just too brilliant. He just puts from anywhere. You leave him safe, he puts it. There. It was a great shot, that one.
Yeah, unbelievable. Probably shouldn't have went for it. But when you can pot like him, it's hard to turn anything down.
That's it. And once you've got... and if he keeps... it's just... he's missed that one, though. Okay. So another question, Fergal, has just come up on my screen by... who does that? Rob Clifford. Do you think it will? Do you think it should stay at the Crucible, the World Championships?
Well, I hope it does. And actually, that program we were talking about that was on earlier, the 40 years of the World Championship. It was interesting. The very last thing on the program was Barry Hearn saying, you know,
I've seen it.
Under no circumstance, or he didn't want on his gravestone that he wanted it removed. So on that basis.
Oh, lost you a little bit there. You there, Dan?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I think Fergal's frozen, so I don't know. Yeah. We might have lost him. Oh, that's a shame. He might come back into it. Do you need to contact him?
Yeah, no,
he'll log back in on the same thing. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Right. I'll just start it. He's back.
Right.
According to that, he's there, but he's not.
Oh yeah, it just froze. I don't know. Don't know what that is. But what he was saying anyway was that in that interview with Barry Hearn about 6 years ago, he said that no matter any money or anything, it ain't going to move. But what he said in an interview this week was complete opposite. He said the players want the money and we follow the money. So a little bit contradictory, you could say, from one view 6 years ago to another, but he's right in many ways. He runs the game and he wants it to be played. He's got to pay the players. And, you know, maybe they should increase the size of the Crucible Theatre. That's the solution, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw that Barry Hearn had a meeting with the council and he said, you know, that it was a good meeting, but let's be realistic. You can't build anything of what they need in 2 years. It's just not possible.
No, but why are you saying there's a 2-year cap on it or limit?
Well, because he's saying that's the limit, isn't it? 2027 is when the contract's up for the Crucible.
But if they say, for example, if they in their talks talk about expanding the size of the Crucible Theatre to accommodate more people, then purely that's just a way of ticking both boxes, keeping it there and increasing the revenue, and you have a bigger arena for the people of Sheffield and the World Championships. That would be the solution that ticks all the boxes, in my view.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I look at a lot of the comments, like on YouTube on these videos, like with the Barry Hearn interviews and stuff like that. And you can't find anybody who's happy for it to leave the Crucible. No snooker fan is. But the player's point of view is like Barry Hearn's like a businessman, isn't he? And he wants the money for the players. So you kind of see his point when you see like Luke Littler and the darts doing so well,
Yeah,
it's a big crowd here. I mean, they do. I had a look at the ticket prices for next year. Yeah, they're not cheap to get into the World Championships. The
at 400, Dan.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a lot of money. So they're obviously making a lot of money, but they just want to make more, don't they?
Yeah, and I think if they were to expand the Crucible Theatre, that may take a few years to do, but they could move it around. I mean, he mentioned, and the reason he knows where the money is, moving it to Shanghai, moving it to Jeddah, where the big money is from the big institutions that support sport. So that's his. He's interested in promoting the game and maybe bring it around to other places. But I think if he's talking to Sheffield Council, they'll want to keep it and he'll want to keep it there. But they need more people through the door, more revenue, and basically bigger premises. So to keep the prestige, maybe they can raise some money and get it, increase the capacity, maybe up to 4,000 or 5,000, something like that. That would be good. But it might end up being it lose its atmosphere. I don't know. I've never been there. Have you been there? Yeah. You there, Dan? Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I was just messaging Fergal on Instagram. He is going to try and get back in.
Oh, cool. All right, nice. William's got another frame.
There he has.
So that's brilliant. I love it. Great.
Yeah, Williams.
So anyway, have you been to the Crucible, Dan?
No, I went to the conference centre. Like I said earlier, I saw Fergal play Hunter there, and then I think it was either the year before or the year after, I saw Ronnie versus Jimmy. That was mental at that place. And Jimmy beat him as well. Jimmy beat Ronnie at the conference centre.
Oh, that must have been raucous.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I think I remember it actually.
I went to the UK when it used to be at Bournemouth. That was a nice venue. Met quite a few players there. That was John Higgins won it that year. I can't quite remember what year it was. Late 90s, that must have been.
Oh, close double there from Williams. Has he left it? No, he's not left it. Okay. So we'll see how that all goes. But I think there's Rob Clifford. I don't know if you know these people or if it's just people that are. But he's saying, I thought Dubai wanted to host it. Well, I'm sure that they would definitely do that. All of those Middle East countries, especially Saudi and Dubai and China. I mean, it will be hard for Barry to sort of ignore what, perhaps is being offered in one ear, and then and the pressure that he has to keep it from, it's it's home. The World Championships home is in the UK and Sheffield. So to move it from there would be drastic, but I'm sure he would do it. He makes big calls. But I would say if they can find a way of expanding, that's the only thing I can think of, because 800, isn't it? Is it 800 or 400? I don't know how many people it holds. The theatre, maybe it's 800.
The Crucible, yeah, I think it's not 8 to 900, something like that.
Yeah, so they need to triple that. So I don't know how they would go about doing that, but that's well, listen, that's their issue. But I hope it stays there. It's great. But yeah, like you said, you've tried to get a ticket. It must be a waiting list down, is it? Or
Well, they went on sale this morning, funnily enough.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I think the first session's already gone. So obviously that'll be Xintong, won't it? The first morning session next year. Well,
right,
whoever wins this, sorry, could be Williams.
Yeah.
Could be Williams. But yeah, they're already gone. They were gone yesterday. I think there's like people who have like some kind of, like you have to be a member of a club and you get like a day, you get tickets a day early. Because I saw people posting on Instagram yesterday that they'd already got tickets, and when I tried to go on the site, they only went on sale today.
Okay. So if you're affiliated to a club that you
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but it could be like WST site or something like that. I'm not sure, but there's still tickets available for the Masters. But again, when you're buying these tickets in advance, you never know what match you're going to see. Basically, we've got Fergal back.
Oh, he's back. Oh, great.
Sorry, but I don't know what happened at all. The computers collapsed or something. I don't know what happened, but apologies for that.
No problem. No problem.
Oh, that's
Glad to
all
have
good.
you back, Fergal.
I think we were talking about the Crucible. I was saying it was interesting. Barry Hearn saying, he didn't want it on his gravestone that he was the man that took it away from Sheffield. So, or the Crucible. So on that basis, it's just he shouldn't probably be putting pressure on Sheffield Council, threatening them that he's going to take it away because.
Well, listen, we were just saying that possible solution, Fergal, could be to expand the capacity of the Crucible Theatre.
Yeah, I don't know. In theory, if you could somehow take the roof off and extend an extra few rows all around, would be what ideal scenario. But also, I'm wondering if they did build a new place, and even if it's in Sheffield, obviously backstage can be a little bit cramped. I'm just wondering, the playing arena, would they keep it the same, like as small as what it is, or would they try and do something bigger and better? Because as I said before, if you're building a new arena, you could build something bigger and better, but actually wouldn't be as good. What makes the Crucible is that fact that it is cramped. So just to be interested in that, if it stays in Sheffield, certainly ideally stay in the Crucible, but if it stays even in Sheffield, in a new arena, what size it is, what's the capacity, but also the actual playing arena, what area that is.
What is it like to play with two tables and a screen division, and the crowd applauding a shot from the other table while you've got to try, you're on an important shot yourself, just composing yourself. You get down to play the shot and you hear this roar or gasp or noise from the other side.
Yeah, it can be distracting. It could happen sometime. Obviously, the more you play there, you do get a bit more experience with and part of it, but it can be distracting that sometimes you literally would have to back off the shot to recompose yourself and get back down. But you do kind of get used to it. And again, similar sometimes, I know for myself, maybe playing even some of the qualifiers, different arenas, the table on the other side, maybe Ronnie or Jimmy's playing and they've finished and you hear all the chairs rattle and go up and move. So you do kind of get a little bit used to it, but obviously the Crucible atmosphere is a little bit different, all right.
Right.
But somebody, again, you can't really complain. You can't start moaning about playing the Crucible, so you just have to try and adapt to it. And again, it's the same challenge.
Yeah.
Everybody's had.
And have you ever seen, or has anyone made a maximum while you've been playing or nearby?
God, I'm trying to think. Actually, that's a good question. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody having certainly not the World Championship. I can't think of anybody having a 147 against me. Somebody probably did, and they're probably going to be disappointed. Didn't
They'll be
remember.
on to you. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, funny! I played in Fürth in Germany. There was a tournament, and there was a few tables in the arena, and Ken potted the black to had the 147. He potted the black, and it was only when the black went in, the crowd cheered. I realised that I was probably so absorbed in my own game. I'd no idea that he was that close. Obviously, if you knew he was playing that close, you would have stopped, and when he was on the colours. But I mean, I was so absorbed in what I was doing or not doing that I didn't. But I can't. God, that's a good question. I can't actually think of anybody.
It's one of those that I think you would remember. You've been recording things really sharply, so I reckon you would remember if that had happened.
Yeah, I think so. And I said, yeah, I have a decent enough memory when it comes to myself, snooker. And I have no recollection of going over to shake someone's hand. And I've had plenty against me, obviously, in practice, loads of people. But yeah, that's a good one.
So
if anybody can remember, they can let me know.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, some of the ones. So I've recently been doing some videos of historical ones. So during this year's World Championship, I'm putting on some videos of, for example, Cliff Thorburns with some special effects and music from the time. But one of the things I liked when I was making the video is seeing the players stop on the other table and come over and look, once they hear the murmurs of the audience and get wind of what's happening, stopping their match and coming to look at the 147 round the screen. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that was kind of the first time, first time with the Crucible, first time that had happened. Because obviously Davis had won before, but that was just playing in one table. Whereas it's quite commonplace now and it is amazing. Generally, you're playing your game, but just get a sense, whether it be from the crowd or the noise. It's amazing how you can kind of get a sense that somebody's on a 147. And the standard now is that, if not before, we're certainly going to get to the colours that play would stop on the other table or tables around to give them every chance to do it. But certainly the Thorburn one, that was kind of like that was also new and so memorable.
Brilliant. And it started with a fluke. Fantastic.
Yeah. Nice.
Started with a fluke. And when you see the level of some of the players, but I do agree with you. It got to the quarters and the standard was amazing. But then Trump dropped away a little bit, which I was surprised about.
Yeah, he dipped a little piece, not a hell of a lot, but certainly the first two rounds, I thought he looked the best. He kind of nearly looked like champion and waiting, I thought. But did dip a little piece against Mark, who played very well. Obviously the Williams and Higgins, but it certainly looked at the quarters because there was such good players and so many stories and literally intriguing players. Zhao Wei was there.
And Kyron went out first round, the champion.
Yeah, not for the first time. That's happened a lot, but yeah, it's still been a very good tournament. But I do think the semi-finals and final ended up being a bit disappointing. And Trump and Williams was 17-14, but Ronnie lost with a session to spare. Williams another frame on the board here, 17-11 looks like. So you still assume he's going to win, but generally it's been quite one-sided, which is a bit disappointing because we like it to go close. And
so looking at, just Ronnie, Xintong played with the other hand. Did you ever play your right-handed player, Fergal?
Yeah, no, it's awful at my left hand.
Yeah.
Barely hold the cue.
It just feels alien. So when you see it done with like some screw back the length of the table on the tight on the cushion, and with power and pace, you're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing. Just with any pots, particularly this is that level of skill or touch or power that somebody has, And again, it's probably. Again, as I was a kid watching on the TV, nobody really did it. But I would say if there's most young players, 15, 16, that looking to have a career in the game, they could probably make it a 50 or so with their left hand because they've seen Ronnie do it. And certainly at certain times, you could argue using your left hand is more of an advantage than using the rest, depending on where the balls are. So it's certainly an asset to have in your game. But again,
it is.
It's become an army of players are swapping over now because so many players can play with both hands.
Exactly.
Funny you two should talk about that, because can you remember when Ronnie did it to Elaine Robidoux?
Yeah, and Elaine wasn't happy at all. It was 90s.
He was not happy, was he?
What did Ronnie do with his other hand?
He just started playing left-handed, and no one had ever seen it before. And he started playing left-handed, and Robidoux said it was really disrespectful. I mean, we're going back to the mid-90s, I would say.
Yeah. 96, and Robidoux didn't shake his hand at the end of the match because he felt it was so disrespectful, you know. But
is Robidoux Canadian, Fergal?
Yeah, French Canadian. And
French Canadian, yeah.
He had been over again. He based himself when he was over in the UK. He based himself up in Stirling. Again, that same club that Hendry, John Higgins, and a few other players were there. But look, he was a good player, really nice guy, but he was a good hard match player. I think he got as high as maybe he was in the top 8 or so 1 year in the rankings, and kind of fell away a little piece. But but when it was first done, it was just deemed as disrespectful.
I do remember a little bit of that. Yeah, okay. So, well, listen, you know, Ronnie, Jesus, you can't. What can you say? He's just, you know, to do that is, well, no one had ever, like I said, no one had seen it before, and he thought maybe you're taking the pee a little bit, but
exactly.
Yeah. And come here. So, did you play with one cue throughout your career? Did you have many cues? Did you ever lose it or break it?
The very first cue I ever made, that century that I was talking about, a couple of weeks after that, I was coming home on the bus in Dublin, and I was reading Snooker Scene, and I was so engrossed in reading the magazine, I kind of forgot, looked out the window as we stopped, so just closed the magazine, ran down the stairs,
ran off the bus.
Straight off the bus, got home, and about 15-20 minutes later realised I'd left my cue on the bus. So I was devastated. But throughout my career, I kind of had maybe three cues. I'd a cue from 91 to 90, about 95, a cue from 95 to 2001, and then the last 20 odd years I just used the same cue from John Paris.
Oh, so the last one you used was a John Paris?
Yeah, lovely, beautiful cue.
Oh, really? Okay, lovely, nice. And a weightier cue? You like the heavier weight?
No, it was fairly. I don't know exactly. I'd say maybe 18 ounces as such, but it was a little bit thicker than the one I got before. A little bit thicker in the butt, and also the ferrule. You know, up around the ferrule, like it was 10 millimeters. So, but no, it was lovely.
Cool. And so you had 2 or 3, but when you get used to one, it's nice. So whatever happened, Ronnie, during this tournament, Q was part of it, but only part of it, really.
Maybe I think even for him, if he wasn't happy with the Q in the first place, and again, he normally gets his Qs from John Paris, and this one was a different make. And then also, if you combine the fact that then he changed his from a brass to titanium ferrule, there are a lot of extra variables are coming in, and then of course he just compounded it by mid-tournament.
Well, why would you do that during the middle of the World Championships, Fergal?
God only knows. And I said, I don't know why with the Q, in first place he changed from.
You would think that he would have done that beforehand if he, you know. He's an experienced pro, the best player that's ever played the game. And to start messing about with things mid-tournament is surprising.
Yeah, but he's also the most erratic player of all time.
Yeah. But even his genius only has certain limits, I think, in that they changed the cue beforehand and then also changed the ferrule, because, again, throughout his career played with brass ferrule, and a titanium ferrule doesn't throw as much as
Did you see that fluke from Mark Williams? It looked like the Cliff Thorburn one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Fantastic. And
he wins this, gets it to an interval. But as I said, it's just a pity that he wasn't 16-9 down, because that would have been, we'd now be 16-12, but the fact he still just needs one frame Now, I know it could be down to 6 frames, but you still feel at some point.
Have you ever lost from the jaws of victory yourself, Fergal?
God, how long have we got? Loads of times I would have lost from a couple of times, maybe lost from I lost from 4-0, then a couple of maybe from 5-2 lost, or maybe 9-6 up, 9-7, a few of those. But they hurt when you get those kind of those defeats, all right. But
it can happen though. These, obviously it's an extreme situation and really unlikely, but when you look at it frame by frame, and Williams is brilliant. He's such a great player, as you know, but he's also, he's the hardest tip in the game. It's such an unusual, but he puts them in from anywhere.
Yeah, that tip. I do not enjoy watching him play with that tip. As good as a player
as
he is, man.
I can't understand it, and Hendry can't understand it.
Yeah, it's awful noise. It seems like that a ferrule is loose, or as I said, he's a bit of steel on the top of it.
Yeah, get some chalk on it, soften it up, something. But he loves it. It's great. I'm delighted for him that he's at least getting some table time, potting them in, and winning some frames. Great.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it for the crowd. They probably couldn't ask for much more than maybe him winning the first 4 to get a little bit of interval. And certainly, if he wins this 17-12, I suppose if he got to normally from 17-14, certainly 17-15, you'd start to be seriously looking over your shoulder. And again, bearing in mind, with the crowd getting involved as well, could be quite a hostile crowd as well. They want to see more snooker, and obviously, I would say most people probably, the crowd would probably up for Mark, maybe more so than Xintong. So that's another little challenge. And again, against the top players, whilst you might be able to have 6 chances, if he's 17-12, effectively he's 6 chances to win. But there's no or 6 frames. There's no guarantee during those frames he will get a chance. So those 6 frames potentially could only be 3 or 4 really good chances. And again, if Williams is on a roll, which he is, so. But at the fact, I'd still be amazed if he lost.
Oh yeah, totally. But with each, while he's at the table and potting, that's just keep doing it. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he didn't have a good run of the balls for a while there, so it looks like it's going his way a bit now.
Yeah, exactly. With the longer matches, that can happen. It can kind of just the pendulum can swing. But as I said, keep saying, it's just the fact he's still on 17. It just needs 1. You would expect he'll get a good chance. And I think if he's in amongst them with a nice chance, I'd expect him to take it. But if the longer he's to wait for that chance, would make it more difficult.
We've got to remember, Xintong's tournament started long before everyone else's as well, didn't it? Because he come through them 4 qualifiers. So it doesn't seem like he's burning out. Most players just play the tournament and can burn out by the final, but it just doesn't seem like he's burning out, does he?
Yeah, no, it is remarkable. I was over there and I've seen him play in those 4 winners 4 matches and seen how well he played. And that's it. Actually, I was asked before the tournament doing an interview here on the radio, and I was asked for my tips. This is what I think Trump will win, but as an outsider, if you could call him that, I did pick Xintong because I think he was 16-1, but I'd seen how well he had played in the qualifiers, and also the fact, okay, he has this amateur status, but I mean, it was only a few years ago we won the UK Championship and the German Masters, so he's not quite your typical qualifier. He's not your typical amateur.
Yeah, that's bravado, really, because he is a top 16 player, really.
Yeah, and if you look at his score lines, no one's really come close to him. I think the closest he had was 13-10 or something like that. Like, no one's really, even got, no one's even tested him, really.
Yeah, and I think as somebody's saying, when you look back at this in years to come, if you've just seen the scores, you would think that he won it and won it easy. That there's been no drama at all. So which is, again, testament, to win the World Championship is difficult enough, but then if you can win it for your first time without being severely tested, just shows he is.
Yeah, Hendry-esque or Ronnie-esque or Davis. Very good. So yeah,
You're not surprised then, Fergal, to see him in the final, Xintong? Because I was. I don't know about you, Catford Mastered, but I was really surprised.
No, I wasn't. I said, particularly seeing, I said he has won the UK before and how well he played in that. But also, he was going to be very sharp coming in. He had nothing to lose. And I said, he played so well in the qualifiers that I felt he would have every chance. You're never going to know when it gets down to the end. It's one thing getting to the semi-finals, but to go ahead and win the semi and final, it's different. Obviously, it looks like he's going to do that. So, but no, and again, that's the thing. I don't think. Please, well, you'd have to hope he does win it here, because I don't think he'd wish that that defeat on anybody. But I think he'd be a multiple world champion as well. And I think he's only going to get stronger and more confident and with more experience.
He's definitely going to win this tournament on more than one occasion, in my view.
Yeah, exactly. I think.
Yeah, and looking at his attacking play, taking him on from anywhere. If he carries on with that, there's only Trump that I know. Wilson is brilliant, and there are other players out there, but there's no one that's playing like that. Who's just taking him on. Trump is about the only one.
Yeah, exactly. I think Kyron Wilson's obviously a good long potter as well, but I think Zhao is a better long potter, again, similar maybe to Trump, and again, so easy for him that he has just that great temperament. He scored the modern game, great long. They're the three things you want as a snooker player: a great long potter, you score heavy, and you've got an excellent temperament under pressure. If you have those three things, you can't go wrong really in snooker.
Do you know what was very nice to see, Fergal and Dan? Obviously Ronnie being his mentor, and the master being beaten by the apprentice, as it were, and then Zhao Xintong's just his reaction and support for Ronnie was great.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was quite, because it was very much his moment. I think he was quite humble, you would have to say, that it would have been very easy for him to get really excited and celebrate, and nearly an over-the-top celebration, but nearly straight away his main concern was Ronnie.
And the other thing also, Zhao Xintong's got praise from Barry Hearn and other pros, people in your sort of, Davis and all the commentators, took his punishment and has responded in the most positive and brilliant way. We're on the table, and yes, okay. It's another one. Looks like it's coming. Hopefully,
yeah, exactly.
There's a couple of loose reds there, or there's a couple of tricky ones. Where's he going from here, Fergal? With the blue?
He's on the blue.
Where's he going to go? Oh, okay.
In and out of ball and try and get as close as he can.
Is he off the knuckle? Oh, he's got one to the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah,
but is the white in off?
55 ahead. Just another red, couple of colours.
The red below the pink into the far corner or near far.
Our right corner as we look.
Oh, brilliant! Look at that.
I'm only on. He's on 50 on mine. I'm a bit behind you, Stu. So I'm just listening to you. That's all right. I'm listening to you, Stu's commentary.
Okay. So, well, is he going to clip the brown in, Fergal, or clip the green? Maybe the green.
Yeah, I think the green looks more natural, because then if he just rolls it in, he'll naturally come onto the.
And he'll come out into the pink spot, will he?
Yeah, just ghosted by.
Oh, he's on. Brilliant.
Yeah, the crowd getting involved there. You can see the interest, because again, he's one of those four. And that's the thing as well. It'll be an uncomfortable 15 minutes wait for Zhao. And also when he comes back out again, the reception and roar for Williams again. And as I said, 17-12, but certainly if it goes 17-14, it'd be only human to be feeling pressure and big pressure. But
I'll tell you what, Mark Williams said that he doesn't normally feel pressure.
Yeah.
And I think he had, he said he was a bit shaky or a bit nervous during the Higgins. No, sorry. Who did he play in the semi?
Yeah, it was Trump. That last break he made against Trump, he was talking about feeling quite,
That's right. And he's just doubled that in. Brilliant. Wait till you see that, Dan. Lovely.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
The crowd are getting really involved and shouting there, smiling there. But,
it's really, we'll see at the break if that, it's just coming at the wrong time for Mark and the right time for Xintong, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, still the 15 minutes, just give him a chance to regroup. But
Mark Williams is smiling. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, brilliant.
Look at the crowd.
Yeah, well, fair play to Mark Williams, to be so far behind coming into it, and he hasn't given up. He's 4 frames in the still massive underdog, but it's interesting the crowd now leaving for the break. So
fantastic. Well, what I might do is have a little break myself, and maybe. Well, listen. Should we? I don't know, Dan. If you're happy to carry on, or you'd like to maybe convene if it got to a bit closer or not.
Yeah, I think certainly if we get to, what we say, 17-15, I think.
Do we do that? If they get to 17-15, we'll come back on.
Yeah, I think we'll go with that.
I think that gives us a break, and then if it goes that far, it would actually be really good to have, even though Dan's got a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spoil it for you, Dan.
I assume Zhao will win, but obviously, if it's 17-15, we'll see from there. We'll
see from there. So, enjoy it, Fergal. It was lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to talk to the Perrys. Enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll be talking to you later, but maybe not.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. If we don't do it tonight, do you want to do another one in maybe a few weeks' time? If you're both up for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah.
Whatever suits. I've really enjoyed tonight.
Thank you. So hopefully we'll get to 17-15, and I'll start another live, and I'll message you both. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we use this? See if you can use the same link. Would you be able to?
No. Once I cut it off, that'll be it. That'll go onto YouTube then. All
right. Well, it means a lot of work for you, Dan.
It's not that much. It's not much hassle. So if it gets to 15, I'll message you both on Instagram, and then we'll start another live up.
Brilliant. Okay. All right. Brilliant. I hope to see you later.
All right. Same. Come on, Williams.
Come on, Williams.
All right. Speak to you in a bit.
Cheers, Dan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks very much.